so for coming.
Hey.
We're back. We have Ms. Winter, Representative Shablian. Thank you so much. She was down at the State House for our she's been great for coming, and I'll tell you guys more after she speaks. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Donna Shively. I'm the State Representative, District 24, which is Western Hamilton, Southeastern Boone, so it's Zionsville, a little bit of Whitestown, a little bit of Lebanon, Westfield, Carmel, a little bit of Sheridan is my district. We wanted to have you guys down to the State House. Senator Boots and I worked with Whitaker this year trying to get you down. We started a little too late to get it all coordinated, but next year I hope we kind of stay in touch and try to maybe see if we can come down and visit sometime hopefully in February, which would get you in before we start having the conference committee and things get a little complicated down there. Really appreciate, it's great to see all the young people here. I'm so excited about being here, and it is just to have young people involved and interested, and even a few women, which I think is great. That's very exciting. I'm always trying to get more women to run for office or to think about public service, and so I'm happy to see a few women faces here, female faces here. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am a Republican by choice. I grew up in a Democrat family. Grew up in Southern Indiana. My parents were Democrats. All the community that I grew up in was very Democrat. The people that were in elected office there were all Democrats. And I was happily a Democrat at that time. And I spent my young years through college. I was very active, always been very interested in politics. Helped out as far as campaigns, and remained very active. But I changed, and I want to tell you why I changed. Does anybody know about the Iran hostage situation? Okay, so you're aware of it. For those of you who don't, in 1979, there was a kind of a coup in Iran, and some extremists took over the embassy there and kept 52 of our people hostage for 444 days. And that was during Jimmy Carter's term in office. He had, there were all kinds of things that were going on in the country that I was not real happy with. We had very high interest rates on mortgages, 14%. If anybody knows anything about mortgages, that's crazy. Right now they're about 5%. We had gas lines. We had rationing for gasoline. You had to do every other day, depending on your license plate, when you could get gas in your car. Things were not going well at that time. And on the day of Ronald Reagan's inauguration, they released the hostages. And to me, that was like telling me that Ronald Reagan had some, they were concerned about him. They were worried that things were not going to be the same, that this change was going to, mean something for them. And they released the hostages that day, and to me, that's the day I became a Republican. I decided the United States needs to have a strong place in the world. They need to be courageous. They need to be a leader in the world. And I thought that the Republican Party was offering that more than I was getting from the Democrat Party. I'm proud to be a Republican, very proud Republican, and there are a number of reasons why, but I'm going to just go through a few things that Republicans believe in, and I think, are things that you as probably believe in, since you were part of the Republican Club. They believe in the free market and the need for people to compete in the marketplace, and in order to succeed. And if you work hard and you study hard, you will succeed, and that's a good thing. That's something to be very proud of. They believe in responsible government, that excessive regulations are not good for companies, it's not good for business, it's not good for jobs. They believe in smaller government, that we should not be, ever increasing the government. The state of Indiana has done a really wonderful job. Since 2009, we've reduced average state agency budget by 30%. We've also reduced state employees since 2005 by 20%. something that, it's the second year it's passed, both the House and the Senate, and now it will go on the ballot. So the individuals here, will, people that vote will get to decide whether you want to have a balanced budget amendment added to our Constitution. And I think that's very important. I think having the balanced budget has put Indiana in a great stead compared to other areas around other states in the nation, and it helps to attract business. It helps to keep AAA bond rating, all kinds of things that are good for the country. And I think that's something that we can be really proud of. Some of the things that on the federal level that I think probably maybe you have some concerns about is immigration. I think the Republican Party tends to stand that people that come into the country and immigrate into the country should do that legally. And if you don't do that legally, you shouldn't have the same benefits as someone who does. And to me, that makes perfect sense. I don't think that's anything that's too outrageous or out of line. And that's something that, is just logical to me. Another thing, as far as immigration, I know there's some concerns about the immigration from coming in and the vetting that's been going on and the pause in the immigration for some of the different nation states. And that, I think, if you're having trouble talking to friends about that, you think, well, do you want to allow people who want to harm us into the country? I don't think we do. What this is doing is putting a pause in that, making sure we can kind of check backgrounds better and make sure we have a good handle on that before we open up the immigration process again. It doesn't seem that radical to me, but I know that's caused a great deal of consternation among a lot of people. But I think that's a reasonable and sound policy to have. I don't know if there are other issues. Strong families, that's another thing that's really important for, as far as Republican issues. They believe in strong families. I think, I don't know how you can argue that strong families are better for the nation, for prosperity, and for people in general. I think 68% of the people that grow up in poverty come from single-family homes, and it's very difficult. It's much more difficult in that situation. So that's another thing. I don't know if you guys have issues that you'd like to talk about. I'm open to questions, thoughts. No? Yes.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
I
Yes.
think they passed legislation.
Yes, we did.
I think it was like a gas tax revenue
Yes.
to build I-69, I think.
Perfect, yes.
31. What do you think?
I supported that bill. I think it's important for the state that we have good infrastructure and the roads. A lot of our roads are in a great deal of disrepair. This makes it a user tax by having it be a gas tax and for on a tax on automobiles. It's the people that are actually using the roads that are going to be paying for the roads. That bill also allowed a lot for local communities. There are different grants available to local communities in order to help build the streets for the locals. And I am supportive of it. We have to have good roads in this state. We're the crossroads of the country. And I don't know if you drive on any of the roads around, you pretty much know that you need to put some funding there and work on that. Yes.
When you think of cuts to federal income taxes when we have like a $20 trillion debt, like I know it's a Republican thing to get government.
It is a Republican thing to do. I can't, frankly, that just came out last week.
Yeah.
And I really haven't had a lot of time to look at that issue. I mean, I know the reasoning behind it, that if you cut that, business, increases. And I think a lot of the things we've done in the state of Indiana have been on that model, and it's been successful here. Now, whether they can translate that into a federal success, I don't know, but I would be hopeful that they could. But I would like to look at that a little bit more before I come down on one side or another on that, for sure.
What are your thoughts on ISTEP?
On ISTEP?
Yeah, how it's influencing schools.
Well, we have just passed, legislation allowing for more flexibility for the teachers to have more choice as far as choosing, or the schools to have more choice as far as choosing what kind of testing that they do. I think ISTEP, the last few years has been really out of control as far as the number of hours that you've been forced to go for
thoughts on, military intervention in foreign policy?
That's not really a state issue.